Hey, Kelly. So I'm going to introduce myself all over again. There are people coming on that I'm waiting that are my regular people that follow me, and I'm so grateful to you all. Hi, Kelly. Good to see you. And we're going to talk about some interesting ideas from someone who is half American, half French, me. And the concept of being comfortable in being uncomfortable in different aspects of your own personal life. Because what I'm learning right now, and by the way, I'm making Sunday dinner, just so you know, I'm making Sunday dinner. I was going to be just, outside on my porch and just feel the sun on my face and feel the sun. And I was peeling garlic this morning and making a really beautiful sauce and all of that. And I just kept thinking about certain people in the world that probably haven't eaten in a couple days. So one of the themes that I learned when I first came to America, my father was a World War II veteran. He had a Purple Heart and a Silver Star. He lost a testicle in the World War II. In fact, they told him that he could never have children. Surprise, here I came. So my point is, half of my family, a lineage that has been in this country for a couple hundred years. I also have Native American blood, Blackfoot Indian. And on my French side, I have Italian and French and Swiss bloodlines. Why am I saying all that? Well, because this is a person, I've traveled, I've lived in different countries. And what I've noticed in the conditioning of people who are afraid to put foot to ass in situations, including their own family dynamics, has spread itself to the infrastructure we now embody. So, for example, a great movie you may want to watch, Home for the Holidays. Watch it. It's funny as hell. I remember watching it with my husband again and again and again. And for those of you who don't know me, my husband was my high-level soulmate who passed away in 2020. And my twin flame and I are in union, just so you know. And the reason why we're in union is because, and I know why, is because we had our asses kicked in separation so that we could actually develop some kind of humility. And the egoic framework of Tony and my twin had to be ground to dust. We had to be ground to dust. And one of the things that I know for a fact with family dynamics, I know this because I've lived family dynamics, toxic family dynamics, as many of you have. That's why you're on this. Many of you aren't even in twin flame journeys. You're on a spiritual journey. Some of you are attracted to this channel because not so much that you're twin flames, but because you're in a high level soulmate, or you're a starseed. You recognize that in yourself, and you recognize something in what I say. When you can't put foot to ass with someone who's crossed your boundaries, be it a boss, a mother-in-law, a mother, a father, a brother, a sister, a friend. If you're not comfortable, being uncomfortable doing something, and you don't have to be rude about it. I'm not certainly advocating rudeness. But people I remember working with, because I've been, throwing tarot and doing readings for people for a long time. And I remember people getting all jacked up during the holidays because they were afraid of telling mother-in-law that one and the other mother-in-law that, it was really hard for them to, drive from one house to another to appease everyone's ego, which is bullshit. But watch Home for the Holidays. It's funny as fuck. It is so funny. You'll love it. Home for the Holidays. You'll probably recognize one or two or more family members in that dynamic. Good morning. Good morning, Polly. Thank you for being here. Good morning, all of you. Good morning, Jillian and Caroline. What about spiritual spouse? Yes, definitely. But I didn't really come here to talk about this. Because what I'm noticing, and this is something I've noticed, is that people are uncomfortable making a decision or taking sides on certain issues. I remember I met a young girl, I was in my 20s, in San Francisco, right on Union Square. San Francisco has now become a dangerous place. I don't know if you guys know that, but San Francisco used to be the most beautiful, the most magical, the most incredible town that you could ever imagine landing in. It faced the ocean. You could see the ocean from damn near any venue. And now it's fucking a nightmare. Do you know why it's become a nightmare? Because no one's taking sides and no one's putting their foot to ass in situations that are very important. Because we all want an infrastructure that's better. We all want to be in union with our twin. We all want to be in union with our beloved. We all want our children to be safe. We all want pure water and food. And it starts with you guys putting foot to ass to a boss. I remember a boss talking to me like shit. I was in my early 30s and I turned to him and I said, I love my father. And I won't even let my father talk to me like that. Who the hell are you? And he backed away, believe it or not. But that kind of gave me the understanding that I needed to advocate for myself. I couldn't let people control me or bully me because I was afraid for my paycheck. And I think that's when I began to understand how beautiful the universe is. And how if you just protect and advocate for your little girl or little boy. That was me advocating for my little girl. There was no way in hell I was going to have a man or woman treat me like shit because they had a paycheck. They were signing my paychecks. That wasn't going to happen. It wasn't enough money. There was no amount of money that I will allow that. And when you get that fierce about your own protection, then you'll start understanding how to take sides in political, social, atmospheric conditions that are oppressing others and eventually will oppress us if we don't do something. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions or comments? I'd love to hear some comments. Of course, some comments in this live were filtered to protecting them. It's unbelievable how stupid people are, to be honest with you. But what I'm going to say to you is for you guys who have the kahunas and the wherewithal and the self-realization and advocating for yourselves and healing yourself. There are people right here. There's a particular woman right here who healed herself, who's healing herself from cancer. She's that powerful through her meditations and her chanting and her advocating for her little girl. And so we start home. So maybe the first thing you may want to do is learn how to advocate for yourself. And no amount of money is worth having a boss treat you like shit. Now, I remember in the old days when I was in my 20s, I was I think I was like 20. I think I was 19 or 20. And I remember accepting a job. I was shaking. I didn't even know how to ask. I didn't even know how much I was getting hourly. So it's not like I don't know that because I've been there. And I remember, oh my God, there's just so much I could tell you where I've gone through this journey of self-realization, of going out. People can't talk to me like that. That's not going to be okay. That's not going to be, I don't deserve that. And ultimately, what I found is my voice. And I learned, again, I'm going to tell you this quote that I love. I love this quote. It's from Winston Churchill. And I've been saying it every live, but I want to say it again. Winston Churchill said, true diplomacy is telling someone to go to hell and having them look forward to the trip. So why am I saying all that? Because I'm realizing that, in particular, many of people in America are not comfortable taking sides on what's going on across the oceans. Okay? And again, this has been going on for thousands of years. It's not the first time we've had a conflict, but the kind of conflict we're seeing, and I'm going to say it, in Gaza is unprecedented. We haven't seen shit like that since Rwanda in 1998, I think it was 98. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the point it happened, it was a 48-hour genocide. No one did a damn thing. And people didn't have cell phones like that, as you guys know. So no one could document shit. I met a guy, a young kid who survived acting dead on piles of bodies. So part of the reason why I know it pretty well, and I kind of researched it after meeting this kid, is he told me how he survived. So the reason why we're not actually taking sides is we can't even fucking take sides in our own home. Would extended families, cousins, uncles, somebody dies. I can't tell you how many clients I've had where they come to me and say, yeah, you know, I'm not talking to my mother or my sister now because my mother died and there's money and there's fighting and this and that. Well, that was always there. It was always there. It's just that many people don't have the kahunas to deal and resolve these issues when it's happening. when it's happening. You don't. And so what happens is quite often people, including twin flame journeys where you guys react, say, I'm just going to give you an example that women can totally fucking relate to. So your twins, leering at some chick. And part of the reason why he's doing it is to piss you off, let's say. But you don't say shit because you swallow it in. And then suddenly it erupts 3-4 weeks later. And the fight is about a toothbrush or toilet paper or the last piece of cake being eaten. And you fucking lose your shit. But you're not losing it's because you suppressed it and it turned into a cancer, turned into a boil and exploded all over everybody. Abusive upbringing breeds good girl habits. Don't rock the boat. Exactly. Finding our voice and using it is chill-inducing, empowering. Yes. Oh my God. How true is that? Exactly. So when you can master that in your own backyard, and I think that's when I was called by power, because I've been watching videos, posting videos. Look at all my reposts. You'll see a theme. I'm pretty respectful, you guys. I swear to God I am, because I'm not posting shit about anyone, not about the Sudan or Gaza, but I'm reposting a whole bunch of shit. So if you really want to know where I stand, you can certainly check it out. It's all there. I'm very confident. I've also posted some incredible speeches from George Galloway. George Galloway is an amazing Scotsman. I actually heard him speak in California, Southern California, when my son was about 3 years old. And he's amazing. He's an amazing speaker. And he's been a supporter of Palestine for a long, long time. But I'm not anti-anything. I'm not even feminist. I threw that away a long time ago. I hope I don't offend many of you, but there's a point where you don't give a fuck, you know what I'm saying? And you can't give a fuck too. I'm a humanist. Humanist, because in this life, I'm a woman. In past lives, I was a man. And I've been a good man and a bad man. I've been a great woman. I've been a fucking asshole as a woman. So once we part down to becoming advocates for our own backyard, then you'll be much more comfortable to take sides. Because I'm hearing a lot of people who don't know. They say, well, there's just not enough information for me to make a decision. Sounds like what happened to the Jews in World War II. But in those days, there was an excuse. There was no fucking information. There was no news media. There was no social media. There was none of the information going on live as it. The first time we got to see things live was the Vietnam War, when they were actually. I think they could have. I don't know if they were live streaming it. To be quite blunt, I don't know if they had that technology. I was only like 10, but I do know that you could see footage that was pretty intense. It was so intense that Lyndon B. Johnson actually put a stop to it because it was really pissing. A lot of people were going and hitting the streets to have us pull out. And by the way, before Vietnam, just so you know, the French were there. They got their ass kicked. So it was weird. Why would we go in behind that? But anyway, so it's important to learn your history. Learn your history. And it was interesting because someone said, I'm learning all this shit from TikTok I never learned at school. Why in the hell do you think I was homeschooling my kid? Sometimes we needed more money, so I would have to put my kid back in. But I swear to God, within 6 months to 7 months, I'd look at my husband and I go, I can't fucking take this shit anymore. Because my son would regress. And then I would pull him out for a couple years. And we'd be broke. Okay, we'd go to the food bank. We did all kinds of shit because we wanted our kid educated, not brainwashed. So what I want you to kind of think about, let's take it all the way back, is that you want to take, honestly, if you're going to do 2 hours of bullshit, I'm not kidding. And I'm a girly, okay? I love my lipstick and my perfume. Don't get me wrong. I'll do that too. I'll scroll TikTok for tips on whatever. But if you're going to honor the full moon eclipse and something magical that's happening on the planet, I did a guided meditation yesterday on the full moon eclipse, and I'll upload it as soon as I can. But what I'm going to say to you is I'd like you to take a moment to watch what our people are saying on live. And you can't make that shit up. I lived in Paris when these two countries, Israel and Palestine, were using Paris as a battlefield. That's why we moved to this country, by the way. And I'm finally going to come out with it so you guys know. How did I come to America being born in France, right? That's what happened. It scared the fuck out of my mother. She couldn't stand it anymore. Everything was blowing up. Yesterday, I decided to rewatch the movie Munich. Watch the movie Munich. That'll give you an idea what happened in Europe in the 70s and why many, many of us Europeans, in my case, half American, half French, we immigrated to this country because it got to the point where nothing was safe. And I could tell you more stories if you want, but this is not really it. I want you to get comfortable with making decisions, even about your own family bullshit. Because what I'm realizing is that the reason why all of this is happening all over the world is because none of us on a personal level have mastered the ability to advocate for ourselves in our own family dynamics, in our own family toxic lineages. We haven't learned how to speak eloquently, there I am stumbling over that word, eloquently over how our parents have made us feel, or mother-in-law. And if you have a man, woman that doesn't support you and doesn't, I don't mean just completely take your side, but isn't fair enough to protect you, then you have a problem in the marriage. That marriage is not going to, it's not going to thrive. Because if your mother-in-law is giving you shit and your spouse isn't somehow protecting you in some levels or being fair about it, then you're going to have problems in the marriage, and the marriage eventually will collapse. It will. Does that make sense? How do we strengthen energetically to not be completely depleted by the global information? You do what I do, which is you get grounded with the trees. You realize, listen, here's the thing. I'm going to ask you a question. Have any of you been up for 24 to maybe 48 hours to study for your final exams? Have you guys ever done that? Because I'm one of these procrastinators, and I used to do it all the time. And I don't know why pressure puts a lot of, power in me, and I was able to like kick ass. Yeah, yes, Polly. And Deb says, yeah, that's what happened to my marriage. So what I'm going to ask you, so let me repeat the question that Nefeli Bata said. How do we strengthen energetically to not be completely depleted by the global information? You chant, you meditate, and you send energy to the whole planet. The entire planet. And you realize that why you're here is to witness it and to stop it. Because the other download that made me pick up the phone, though I'm making Sunday dinner right now, just so you know. I got stuff in the oven. I got a beautiful pasta sauce that's been simmering for 2 hours. I've got stuff happening, right? And I shouldn't even be on here. But the reason why I'm here is because the other thing I was told to say to you guys is that this is what happened when Atlantis began to fall. We had multiple signs. And the frequency couldn't contain it anymore. Because the frequency was dense. And I'm going to tell you something. When you're attracted to shit, like I was reading there's a book called Atlantis, the Antediluvian World by, I believe, John Donnelly. And I read that book at 17. I read books 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. I'm not kidding. And once, like, boom, again. That's how I learn, personally, me. But that book, why would a 17-year-old girl, think about what you're attracted to, get interested in a book like that? Why would a 14-year-old girl be interested in Tibet and third eye opening and shit like that? It's because when you're attracted to things, it harks back to your past lives. Honor that. And know that that's where it's coming from. So if you were attracted to Atlantis or Lemuria, it means you were there. It's a no-brainer. I'm sure you've heard that before. God, I hope you've heard that before. But so what it means is that if you know you're attracted to that, then now you have to look at the complete infrastructure of the planet. As you guys, many of you who are on here right now are starseeds. And I know you know that. And some of you aren't sure, but some of you fucking know it like the next breath you're taking. Like the name you carry today. You know it. So with that said, then now we have to look into sitting in meditation to ask higher guidances. What am I supposed to do? What is my mission here? And your mission here is to be self-aware, to learn how to advocate for your own family dynamics, to say no. Learn how to say no. Do you know how many people don't know how to say no? Hey, Jill, I really want you to come over for Thanksgiving dinner. Your father's here. Your uncles are going to be here. And you just gave birth to a baby. You know, you can barely walk. It was a C-section. He wants to make nice. And you feel kind of like shit, and you're resenting it because here again, it's on you to drive, fucking 2 hours to their house or whatever the hell it is. And say no. Well, why not, Jill? Why won't you come? Well, Mom, I just had a C-section. I feel really, this is hard on my body. Or forget the C-section. I don't know, Mom. This year, I just want to, chill out. It's snowing. It's really cute. It's cozy. If you want, I'm going to do an open house. I'm thinking about doing an open, you guys are welcome to come. I'll make a turkey. It'll be open house. It'll be buffet style. We'll have fun. Come on over. Turn the invitation back to them, but say no. And when they insist, say, Mom, Dad, I really love you, but not this year. So I'm opening the house if you want to come. If you don't want to open the house, then don't. Don't open the house. Just say, no, this year we're going to chill out. Let's do a Zoom call and we'll wish each other happy blah, blah, and that's it. Okay? I have crystals that I know I must have had in past lives. I actually believe you. Believe it or not, because I've had that hit. I was attracted to Egypt. Yes, remembering. Exactly. So that's what I want you guys to like jump into your power of self-advocating. Learn how to say no. And then the way I started saying no to people was saying, I'd say this. So thank you for, respecting the fact that I'm saying no and I don't want to. Even if you don't have an excuse or a reason, you just don't feel like it. That should be enough. And the next time when I say yes, you'll know that when I say yes, it's a hell yes. It's a fuck yes. It's a I'm so excited yes. Instead of a resentful yes, an angry yes, passive-aggressive yes. A yes that would most likely the last minute you'll call them saying, I hurt my back. I have such a headache. Oh, Jill, Joe, and John fell down the stairs. You'll come up with a passive-aggressive excuse to get out of it. So they offered me full-time work at work. I said, no, good for you. Oh, I did that 13 years ago. My family did not like that. No, they didn't like it. But when you say yes, it's a yes. And that is what you need to. So once you learn that, when you master how to do that, then you can make decisions. Seeing the sprouts of healing my father now, beautiful. Congratulations, by the way. Once you master that within your family unit, then at that point, guess what happens? You can actually take a stance on anything, anytime, with passion. I don't give a shit if it's the wrong stance. I don't care if people think you're wrong. My stance, and I'm going to be blunt, my mom and everybody just said something about a job in school, and I'm like, wow, no. Good for you. Good for you. 13 years, but it is happening. No, it happened to my mom too. I feel that. So do I. So one of the things that's going to happen is your healing family lineage when you stop being guilt-ridden and corralled into positions from family pressures to do what they want you to do as opposed to what you need to do. This brings me back to my next point, which is at that point you'll be comfortable in taking positions that are for Israel or against Israel, for Sudan or against France. Do you get what I'm saying? But at this point, it doesn't matter as long as you make a fucking stance. And that's going to be important. And all of you who are content creators that are creating stuff, I really feel that it is our responsibility as Starseeds and veterans from Atlantis. I mean that. We're veterans from Atlantis, all of us. And many of us, not all of us, I'm going to be blunt, not all of us were in Lemuria. But those of you who are very connected, they're telling me to say this to you. Many of you that are connected to Avatar, the movie Avatar, Jim, I forgot his name, the director, the guy. Many of you who are attracted to Avatar, the soft, non-warrior Avatar, that movie, that part of, that segment that showed the gentleness of those people. Many of you who are totally connected to the gentleness and connected with Gaia, druidic herbs, things of that nature, the gentleness, the low, slow-moving energy of Mother Earth. Yeah, you guys were probably most likely Lemurians. There's no doubt. Oh my God, I cried so hard when I watched it. Exactly. It's home. It's because it's home. So yes, I love Avatar. I love the word no now. Good for you. So it's very important, and also be cognizant of people who can't say no to you, because once you do that, you're going to be a very powerful presence, and you need to give people outs. So when you ask for a favor, make sure you give them an out. And I'll give you an example. So I'll say, I need to ask you if you would be willing to do that, and no is an okay answer. In fact, no, I would prefer hearing your no okay, than a reluctant yes. And you know, 9 times out of 10, people want to help. They really do. And they'll say yes. But every blue moon, they'll say, no, I can't. I'm not in that position. I get it. I get it. Like, give them a rope, okay? Don't, to get out of a request, okay? Don't just ask for something, okay, and not give people an out, okay? Babysitting your kid, loaning you money, whatever the hell it is. And an old rule of thumb: don't loan people money, give people money. So there's never any karmic attachment, okay? And hopefully, if they're good people, they'll gift it back to you, or when you need it, they'll gift it back to you. Does that make sense? But don't be surprised, okay? Money's a funny thing with people for whatever reason, because they're always in lack consciousness, the average person. So that brings me back again to why I did this live. Please take a stance. Please be vocal. Please know your history. I've been reading about what's been happening to that part of the world since I was 10. That's when I was fully aware. 8 years old is when I was aware of it. 10 years old, I read my first book on it. I kid you not, I was 10 years old. And it was a book that was written, it was a French book. It was what they call La Librairie Rouge, which was a very advanced. They had 3 levels from Hachette Press. Pink, which was for little kids that were 5-6 years old reading. Green, which meant a little more advanced, and Rouge, which was the highest. Teenagers read books like that. And it was about a battle that had happened in in the desert. And it was about a Palestinian girls, because in those days in the South, see, a lot of you guys were born way later. See, that's the fucked up thing about history not being really fully activated, and the internet doesn't really show shit. It's controlled by certain forces. But they had this beautiful, this book was just beautiful. It was in the old days, okay, Palestinian girls and boys were put into the army, as were Israeli girls and boys. If I recall correctly, I remember seeing that. I'm not sure if they went into battle, but that they were, anyway, so it was about a battle, and the battle and the aftermath of the battle, and this young 16-year-old Palestinian girl and this young 17-year-old Israeli boy have to somehow walk out of the desert, and they need each other, and they have to come across corpses of dead soldiers to come across for socks and to come across for water and any supplies of food. And by the time they walk out of that desert, they've fallen in love. It's like a Romeo and Juliet story. I've been looking for that book for decades. I can't find that book to save my life. And my mom, when we moved, had donated all these books, and it made me sick, because that book I cherished, because it showed that when we see our humanity and when we partner with each other, nothing else matters. I've been learning about both sides. I don't choose when it comes to children, but it is war. No, it is not war, because you see, you'd have 2 sides going. That's not a war. A war is what happened in World War II. You had soldiers on both sides. This is not a war. This is a small group of people, you're not. Please don't, Jen. Do me a favor. Go and look at other newspapers. Read the French newspaper. You can translate it. Read other papers. When 9/11 happened, I was reading papers from other countries, because there's no way I was going to actually read the papers here. There's no way I was going to believe it. And I'm going to tell you when I stopped believing. When Louisiana had the way we helped our most vulnerable. So if I were you, yes, it's correct. I appreciate your opinions always. No, I'm just saying, it's not a war, it's a massacre. It is. A war is an even playing field. A war, I'm going to come up with movies so you guys understand the concept of an even playing field as opposed to a massacre. A war would have been like, watch the movie Kingdom of Heaven, which, by the way, Ridley Scott made right after Gladiator. 9/11 happened, so he made it right after Gladiator in 2002, as you well know. 9/11 happened, and that movie was just being released, and it was buried alive. This is a movie I tell a lot of people to watch, because that movie is incredible. Knights Templars, the Crusades. Go watch it, Kingdom of Heaven, and it's beautifully made. It's absolutely gorgeous, and you'll enjoy it, and you'll get a little bit of history from that part of the world during the Crusades. You should actually know about the Crusades, and if you don't, you should. The problem I remember from history, when I got the difference between history, how we're taught history in public schools in Europe. When I mean Europe, I mean Switzerland, and France is that by the time we're 12, 13, we're looking at ancient history. Okay, we're looking at, we're going into the dark, we're going all the way back to 3,000 years. We're actually studying all that. And then in those days, when I was a young girl, when I was a little girl, we were taught either ancient Greek or ancient Latin, okay? Dead languages, of course. But it would help people like learn how to read stuff on their own so that they could actually discern it on their own. That's one of the things we've lost. So I love that movie. Isn't that a great fucking movie? I've seen it. Yeah, I kept looking into 9/11. I was only 1 year old when it happened. Yes, my son was 2. And I'll never forget where I was when I watched it. I was like, what the fuck? I had just come out of the shower going, and my mom had it on her TV, and my son was on the floor playing, and I was like, what the, is this for real? I was like, there were no words. I was choked. I've never seen anything so brutal in my entire life. So don't get me wrong, okay? But we need to like make sure that we understand the very beginnings of certain things, okay? And we don't, okay? We don't. We're my favorite singer, Alaya, had just passed away, 8/25/2001. She was waking people up. Wow. Aaliyah. Oh, wait. Hang on. Aaliyah was in that plane, right? She died on the chalk. She was I think she was leaving the Bahamas to Miami or vice versa, and the plane was overloaded with luggage. Queen of the fame, wonder when I would find love. So anyway, do you remember? Yeah, I remember that. I remember when she died, I was actually struck. I never even heard, I never heard one song of hers, but I didn't know she was waking people up. But beautiful. That girl was stunning, wasn't she? Anyway, I believe she was in Nassau. They had just shot a video. But my point is, get your business in order with your family. That's part of the family lineage healing. And then you'll be more comfortable in making decisions. Yes, I love her. She's a fellow Capricorn. Oh, I didn't know that. So that's all I'm asking you guys to do. I'm not asking you to like choose a side. I don't give a shit what side you choose. I'll still be your buddy. I don't give a fuck. This is something we need to kind of like understand. We need to develop a muscle where we can talk politics without punching somebody out. That's not how you talk. You have to be civil. You have to disagree with civility. You know what I'm saying? And with respect. And this is a muscle that we, as Americans, okay? World War II vet, my dad, fought for freedom. You know, Patton's Third Army. He was a tank commander. Okay? So we need to use freedom of speech with each other with civility. And we can agree to disagree with civility. And this is absolutely the very foundation of freedom of speech. And remember, our forefathers were rebels. Thank fucking God. Okay, they were rebels. They got pissed off over a tea tax. They just lost their shit. It was like, fuck you, George. You know, you gotta admire that shit. That takes balls. And there was a very small crew of people, okay? And that was a battle fought on many levels of intelligence, almost like guerrilla warfare or whatever you want to talk about. But what's happening in that part of the world, in the Middle East, yeah, that's not a war. No. That's not, in my humble opinion. And we should be able to disagree with civility and understand the passions of other people, because ultimately, whatever happens, the winds of these decisions will impact us sooner than you think. And ultimately, you know what I love about the ancient world? They used to take two leaders and just throw them in the ring and go, whoever wins fucking wins the country. It was like, you know what I mean? It was like, whoever wins this battle wins the country. Good, let's do it. Duke it out. I have a young son. He's 23. And he's not hamburger meat for anyone, okay? I'm going to be very honest about that. Like how even the smallest sound never ceases but becomes part of all creation. Yes, I feel this in my heart and soul, and I have been saying this for years. No reason to be disrespectful to each other or to say things to tick each other off intentionally. But even if you do, you can say, you've just triggered me. And you've hit me, you're trying to hit me below the belt. And that's ignorant. And so until you know how to talk with civility, you know, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. and you don't talk to that particular person anymore. I mean, it's like having a favorite dog that's really beautiful. You love that dog, but then it becomes rabid. You're not going to start negotiating with a rabid dog. It's pretty dangerous. And so you have to know your audience, okay? When I say talk with civility, I'm talking to people who have sense, brains, and are in control of their impulsivity, okay? But if you know you have a rabid dog in the room, yeah, you kind of close the door on that one, okay? Just thought I'd throw that in. I'm 23 too. How cool is that? And no reason anything should escalate or to bash each other up. Had to tell mine I need space because he just wants to be friends despite his feelings. So the ultimate test that we're being given right now, my friends, okay, that's my message to you. I'm sure most of you have seen the video of this wonderful healer, holistic healer, forgiveness coach with her tattoo on her chin, who basically said, she said that, the world's ending next year in May and to get your shit together. And one of my clients was really angry and very pissed off and hurt to hear that, because she feels like she got punched in the gut, because it's like this idea of throwing in the towel, and it's a behavior from somebody who is drained beyond drainage, and I get it. And but at my lowest point, and I'm not comparing her, okay? I know everyone's different, okay? We're not here to compare. I'm not better. I'm not worse. I think my guides told me that I've been a warrior in many, many incarnations as a male, a warrior, okay? And even though I'm not proud of what I had to do or did, I didn't have to do it actually. Let me restate that, because that's not true. I never had to do that. That was a choice. In that mindset, the egoic framework that I embodied as a warrior, that energy of not quitting until I'm one of the ones that I wouldn't quit until my last breath. And so many of you have that in you. Many of you have that in you, because if you did not, you wouldn't be here. I can tell you that right now. You would not be attracted to what I'm saying. It would actually turn you off. At some point, they would be like, nope. So I know that many of you are warriors. Many of you are shamans. Many of you have been druids, druidesses. You've been high priestesses. You've been kings and queens. You've also been foot soldiers. You've been farmers that have been victimized by conquerors. You've been all that. You've seen all aspects of many of the angles. And Atlantis is breathing. That's how Nefi Libata, you don't give up. You have it in you. You have insurmountable, infinite energy. Your soul is limitless, and you got to pull down some of the your tools that you've left scattered across your incarnations. Bring them back. Your sword, your shield, your wand, your magic crystals. That's why some of you, like this lady said, I'm pretty sure I've come across crystals that were mine in a past life. I'm not fucking surprised. Don't think that's crazy shit. It isn't. Because a crystal could actually be a big ass crystal, and over time being carved, pieces and the smaller pieces being carved again and resold and redistributed and repurposed. The global conflict is so overwhelming. Is it possible to make us look closer to home, and maybe by healing? Well, no, that's what I just talked about. I said, fix your home. Start putting foot to ass to your people, your family. If somebody is triggering you, handle your business. Okay, handle your business. Become an advocate for yourself, and then you'll be able to really be an advocate for other countries that need us. The reason why George Galloway, look him up, George Galloway. Okay, it's not over till it's over. Exactly. We have to keep trying, because it could change in a moment, and exactly, it could change in a moment. Did you hear that, guys? It could change in a moment. That's what she's saying. Kay's saying. So that's what you need to understand. Wounded warrior, wounded healer. Polly, wounded warrior, wounded healer, all good. Sometimes you have, in fact, some of the greatest advocates who are anti-war are vets. Have you ever seen that? War vets. They'll be the first ones to talk about the war. Okay? So you have it. They want us to believe it's over, why they're putting so much pressure on us. Exactly, and that's exactly what's happening. And there's a lot of weird, you might have nightmares, dreams of the apocalypse, visions of weird entities coming at you, and every light being, light worker, light bringer is being tested. I'll tell you that right now. But anyway, I wanted to just jump in and ask you to really take some time to educate yourself on multiple things and be aware of what's going on, because it may not be our reality in this incarnation, but the way we kind of judge ourselves, to be honest, it could be our reality in our next incarnation. You know what I'm saying? You may not be a woman today, you guys who are men, but you might end up thinking, well, that doesn't matter. That's not my problem that, girls in the Sudan or get female circumcision. That's not my problem. But you may end up being incarnated into that family that does that. I'm not joking. It's like somehow, some way we're going to experience pretty much every aspect and spectrum of the human experience. And so why not heal it so we don't have to? It's almost, if you want to think about it, it's almost selfish in a good way. It's a good selfish, because we will start advocating for others once we've learned how to master advocacy for our little girl, little boy within ourselves, and putting boundaries to our families. And I just got off the phone with my cousin in France, and we had a good chat, and he's not talking to his sister or mother. He has a great relationship with my uncle, who I adore, his father, and he talks to his father, of course. And sometimes there is no talking to your family. There's no talking, and that's the end of it. And you don't need to keep hitting your head against the wall. Okay, wounded healer here. I'm a vet. They want us. You're a vet. Wow, Kay. Polly, I appreciate it, but I'm not so proud of the military life now that I woke up. And there's no need to be ashamed of it either, Kay. Absolutely no need to be ashamed. There was something that you needed to see. Many of my war vets, I say, you had to go there to see it again, in some cases, so that you could report back and have contrasting information, so you could see where some of the toxic aspects of that system was never going to serve the planet. It never was meant to serve the planet. So to me, I feel that you did a great sacrifice to actually your soul to say, yeah, I'll go in, I'll scout it out, I'll experience this life in the military. I'm gonna learn all this stuff. I'm gonna get maybe wounded by it, but I'm willing to do that so that I can come out of it and have a different point of view that's going to help the collective. Basically, that's what you did. So my partner is serving ATM Dibu Jitu. Yes, absolutely, woke me up so much. Exactly, and it wouldn't happen unless you had done it. You know what I mean? So you should never be ashamed at all. You should actually be honoring your soul for taking that on, because it was your soul that said, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, it's going to make us hopefully get to this point. I mean, you could have gone in with amnesia and decided that this was your life, and you could have said, yes, this is what I want, I'm going to go all the way, I'll be the first this and that to be a general, I don't know, whatever. And you could have gone through all tits boogie on the egoic framework of that life, but in fact, instead, you really opened your eyes, you saw, and you did not unsee what you saw. So honestly, I would say honor your soul for doing that work. I remember having a seizure as a kid, but I felt lied to. Oh, I hear you. It was a great experience and many amazing souls I found too. Exactly. I would think you would have met some pretty powerful souls. Exactly. So anyway, my dad's side, they all served in the world wars for Australia. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. My grandfather was too old to serve, and he was one day I'll tell stories about him, but the most important thing is that some of us came through lineages that had a lot of problems, racist problems, anti-Semitic problems, all kinds of problems, okay? And it's nothing proud, or I'm not ashamed of it, nor am I proud of it. There's nothing to fucking, crow about. But what I will say is that what I'm feeling good about is that we've broken many, many of the patterns in the family lineages simply by being aware of it and going and doing a 180 on it. In other words, doing the absolute opposite on it. So that as long as you do that, you're good to go. I just meant it as I see that war is in the way, or what will solve what's happened to the earth. The earth needs us to advocate for ourselves and advocate for a new infrastructure. It's that simple. It's not working. As long this is why we're being shown what we're being shown with the technology we've never had for 2,000 years. We've never seen that. The brutality that is going on happened in through the Roman Empire, throughout the Roman Empire, but it was never, there's no one's got an iPhone in those days. Obviously, you know that. So what we need to do is change. We need to do a 180, and we're being asked by the universe, we're being asked by our own souls to remember who we are and to find our way out of this fucking shit show that these people have normalized. And there's been enough shows. My God, watch The Secret again. How she opens that documentary. Holy crap. She's really subtle, if you think about it. Because then she goes right into manifesting money, necklaces, not being bullied, all that crap, and cancer healing. But go back and just watch the first 10 minutes and what she says. Because that's exactly what we've been dealing with. And that's what's created this shit show we call normal. I was thinking that we see it now, but this isn't the first. But it needs to end. And we need to put our foot to ass and say, that's enough. You are not going to take me and my hard-earned money and not give it to these homeless people. If I have videos I've taken, you know what? I'm going to ask my son to upload it on YouTube for me. I have where literally we drove for like 5 minutes on either side, and they're tents. Okay? Now, I don't know about you, but I spoke to my cousin in France, and yeah, there's homelessness, but there was a homeless when I was a kid. Meaning people just chose not to, work. Or it was a choice, okay? But this is not a choice. This is different. And we're talking about hamlets, 600-700 people living together for protection in their own village. This looks like Mad Max. Spending money in the wrong place. The documentary is called The Secret by Rhonda Burns. Rhonda with an H, RHONDA, Burns, BYRNES. The Secret by Rhonda Burns. Watch the beginning, and you'll see what she says about the 1% and the Emerald Tablet. The movie. Just watch the movie. Just watch the documentary, because people don't have time for that. Eventually get the book if you're totally taken over by the movie. I had the book, the Audible. I mean, I brainwashed myself out of thinking what I was thinking. That was in my 30s. But yeah, do what you gotta do. But kind of starts opening your eyes more, because all of that, everything I'm telling you, actually, believe it or not, family lineage, toxicity, advocating for yourself in your family unit, all of that, yeah, that's part of the twin flame starseed journey, all of it. And so once you see that, you'll realize that part of the transformation that you need to go through, you have to go through alone. What Americans pay for just Halloween, we could feed so many at all and have a huge chance. Yes, I just spoke with a couple business about how they held the community instead of the people. It's over $1 billion spent on just that one holiday. What I'm more interested in is $100 billion going to outside this country. $100 billion. But that's not okay. That's not okay. I think it's actually a crime. Because $100 billion, remember those little spindling checks we all got for $1,200? These little tiny checks. They could have all sent us 50 to 100,000. Each and every American could have gotten, let's just be ridiculous. We could have all gotten a check for $45,000 with the money they've spent so far in the last 2 years. $45,000. All of us would own a house or property by now. All of us that have a half a brain would have said, I'm sitting on 45 grand. Maybe I should buy a house. That's my down deposits. That's my closing costs. I'm going to get some acreage. I'm good to go. I got Wi-Fi. I'll commute. I'll commute an hour to my job. I know I did that. I lived up in the Catskills in New York. And I remember living up there by choice. Thank God in those days I didn't need Wi-Fi, but now Wi-Fi has been upgraded in the last 5 years up in that part of the world, in those mountains. Anyway, long story short, I would drive an hour and 20 minutes to my jobs. I'm not kidding. Sometimes I would go home and it would be 10:30 at night in a snowstorm. So I've done it. I had snow tires and studs. And sometimes I couldn't go up that mountain. I would stay with a girlfriend for the night because the snowstorms were impossible. But that's what I did because I preferred living off-grid in the mountains than living in the city with all this bloody noise. So honestly, it's possible, but again, they're making choices. And so the first thing you want to do is to get your own ability to say no to your family and beloveds in a beautiful way, so that they realize that they can't manipulate you or guilt you into corners that you don't want to be in, because that's part of depression. Depression is when you're not being true to yourself and you're not actually taking care of yourself. That's depression. And also not being seen and loved. That's one of the things that I couldn't understand when I was in, why we get sent to other countries to work for them. They pay others from other countries to come work over there for us. Exactly. There's nothing to understand. It's stupid. It's a complete waste of resources, and it's a disrespect to our country. We need to take care of our country and our people, and that's it. And on this Sunday afternoon or evening for some of you, or morning for some of you, you have to understand that what we do now is going to impact us and our children and our grandchildren, if you're lucky to have all of that, in the coming years. So this is all hands on deck. So energy work. Again, I keep telling people, if people can actually sit in a meditation and dissolve inoperable breast cancer, tumors in their brains, tumors in their bodies, if they can do that through meditation, I mean, that's pretty tough, okay? That's a hard ask. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and dissolve my breast cancer. Yeah, well, some people have done it. So we can do what we need to do to bring the planet in alignment with 5D consciousness. I remember my mom saying to me, you got to do what you want to do. And I'm like, you're right. That's right. But you also need to do things for the greater good. You have to also be selfless, fearless and selfless. And if you're not fearless and selfless, then you're only concerned with what you want to do, there's a point where I do the same. I do things that give me pleasure, and then sometimes I do things that I don't want to do. Okay? There's some shit I don't want to do, but I'm not being corralled or coerced or bullied by family members or anyone else to do it. I do it because I know there's a greater good aspect, and I do it. If you read the book Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer, actually he talks about that. And instead of chasing billions, which he was never after money. Money chased him because he was at the right frequency, surrendering to what the universe was bringing to him and saying, yes, I'd rather meditate. Fuck, I don't want to do this project. Fuck, I don't want to do this. But he'd say, damn it, the universe brought me this person, and I'm going to say yes. You read the book, good. Money chased him. So why? Because he was on a high frequency. Money is an energy. And the only other people that have money, good or evil people, the only difference between good and evil people that have money, that they have in common, is both of them know and feel that the money will never leave them. Whereas most of us have this fear of losing the money, and that fear is so pervasive that the money disperses and eventually dissolves and disappears. So, frequency of your belief system is going to be something you want to look at, and I'm constantly looking at it and doing what I got to do. But I think most of us, I can say, want a calm, loving life, and we should have a right around the world to have a calm, loving life where we can grow our vegetables or whatever the hell you want to do, or you want to make quilts and knit sweaters and trade for eggs and vegetables. It's your business, but you'd have a trade. You know what I mean? Most of us, it's funny, when I was in my 20s, early 20s, I wanted the lifestyle of the rich and famous. And to me, the lifestyle of the rich and famous is having land, acreage, animals, and just, I don't know, learning how to knit a sweater, learning how to can food. That to me, painting. I love to paint, writing my books, having talks with good friends, meeting new people, healing people, helping people heal into their own power, showing them how to heal themselves. That's my work. I want to sing because I know I'm healing people with my energy. Beautiful. Then do it. Yes, and it's our birthright. Exactly. It is. So we start small. We start with ourselves, and then we go up the ladder of expanding, advocating for others who can't advocate for themselves, where that right has been stolen from them. Does that make sense? Anyway, any other questions that are relevant to what I'm talking about? Any other questions? All right. Well, listen, I want to send you all much love. I want to tell you how wonderful you all are. I hope that I haven't not offended you, but pushed you a little far. But I'm going to tell you why I'm doing it. It would be irresponsible for me not to push you a little more and a little more and a little more. It would be irresponsible. And if I have a small platform, which I do, it is my duty as a human to share and to give you an idea of the blueprint I'm working under, so that maybe you can take some of it and make it yours, or even having your own aha downloaded moments. I'm so ready for a chill, relaxed life. My past life vision were all intense. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Well done. Thank you, Paul. You're always such a joy, and I appreciate your support. You're like unbelievable. Thank you, Tony. Always take something away from your lives and videos. I'm so glad. I'm honored, and I'm honored. So to have the opportunity to talk to you guys. So if you guys want to look at some of my reposts, do it. You'll see where I'm looking at, why I'm saying what I'm saying. And thank you, Kay. That's very kind. It's what you do for me also. Believe me, it's a good exchange. There's an old saying, fair exchange is not robbery. I just feel as if you guys have the heart, and that you must be a part of my soul tribe on some levels. I must have walked beside you in many incarnations, or else you would not recognize me. None of what I say would be recognizable to you. So you're stuck with me, Tony. Thank you for all you're doing for us. Yeah, thank you, Letty. You're so sweet. I'm not doing anything. I'm just sharing. I'm just sharing a day in my life, and kind of hoping that this also gives you a feeling of empowerment, that your voice, your opinions, your desires, your thoughts on things, and the way they're colored is valid. And I certainly want to hear them. And I would love. Anybody wants to share a video with me on something that you feel strongly passionate about with me, message it to me. I'll watch it. I'll repost it. Don't think I'm an island unto myself. That's not so true. It literally came right to you like I knew. Exactly. There you go, Jen. Every client I've had this year, except for 2, I'm being very blunt with you. I knew from other lives. Okay? I felt very comfortable and connected, and it was as if we had stopped a conversation in other past lives and resumed the conversation, and we were going deeper, and I was helping them excavate and create a new foundation based on new understandings. When I do readings, when I do tarot readings and readings, numerology, and so forth. So again, as I hate doing this, but every time I got to do it. I'm not going to hit you up for a reading. If you want a reading, go on my link tree on my profile, and there it is. It says book a reading or get a reading, and fill out your intake form, and I will do it. I want to do one when I have more funds. I will be booking with you. I'd be honored, Kay, to get to know you. Absolutely honored. So so it would be fun. And I'm going to do more videos this week. And I've been resting a lot, just so you know, and I haven't been doing a lot of videos, but I will keep to creating videos and content that resonate with what you're looking for. I honor you. I will not change anything that I do. What I do, though, on the sideline is I repost. And as I've been saying, I may actually do a second channel so that I can talk about how as Starseed we can go on. Meditation on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Yep. And then there's the guided. And there will be a guided meditation. I will post a little ad, so that you guys know we have the meditation on Tuesday the 9th. It'll be a guided meditation. We'll be working on a new mantra. And mantras are powerful. They rewire your brain it's imperceptible. You don't have to be afraid of it. It's not connected to any dogmatic system. Some of the gods, names of gods, have the reverberation and purpose of healing and guiding and destroying blocks and so forth. And that's the purpose. And some of these names of these gods are connected to those energies. So, for example, Ganesh is for prosperity. Lakshmi also is for prosperity. Let me see. Hang on. Saraswati is for music, poetry, and art. Saraswati. What else? Garuda is my favorite. Garuda was the protector of Rama, who also was the embodiment of Krishna. And Garuda is the golden eagle that protected. You've got Hanuman. There's all kinds of different names, and it's, you're not following a religion when you do a mantra. You're following a vibration. You're following a vibration. And if Sanskrit was shit, a NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory would not be using it to code AI. And in England, in some schools, they're teaching kids, little kids, Sanskrit as a second language. So that should tell you something, right? What do you think it tells you? That it rewires you. Okay, there's something about the language that's so specific that AI benefits from it. Major computers that are being coded benefit from its laser pointed focus, and apparently it must be helping little kids in God knows how. Maybe I think it activates the chakras. I know it does, and I also think it activates it's supposedly the junk DNA, not to mention helping your third eye awaken. So I'm looking forward to walking with you again on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard. Mountain would be 7, and Central is 8. And we will just rock and roll and co-create some more healing energy for the planet, for ourselves, for our families, and for the planet. We start with us. You put the oxygen on you, because if you don't, you will be depleted. And this is why a lot of spiritual co-creators or creators or whatever are feeling depleted, depressed, and they're throwing in the towel because they're not taking care of themselves first. They're not putting the oxygen on themselves. And you do that, and then you spread out that power all over the world. Okay? All right. Sending you much love on your journey. I'm going to finish up making Sunday dinner for my family, for my loved ones. And I really hope that you have a wonderful Sunday. And be kind to yourself and pamper yourself, okay, today. All right. Namaste. Be well.